Hello all, I'm here to talk about 2 points which are critical in PCB layout design. This particular video is prompted based on one of the question asked to me by one of the guy. The question to explain you is basically he has asked me that when we see the high speed design PCB layout recommendations, we see that there should be a continuous ground plane. Okay, so his question was he said that he went through that, and when he was doing layout, he understood that a continuous ground plane is not possible in reality. So what is possible? Basically, example, if you take the reference as a ground plane, we know that reference can be considered as a ground plane or a power plane. So when you take a ground plane as a reference, so this ground plane should be continuous as per that application note he has seen. So now what has happened is when he is routing, he found out that there are number of wires that are being routed from top to bottom layer or bottom to top layer, whatever, and there are number of wires that are going through this inner ground layer, which is resulting in a small holes. If you talk in a novice, small holes without a continuous reference plane. So his question was when the recommendation is that we have to have a continuous ground plane, and now you have lot of wires coming down, and practically if you see when you lay out the board, there are number of holes and it is not continuous. So does this affect the high speed signal performance? So that was the question he has put forward to me. So now I was in a dilemma because generally even though I worked on high speed designs, the instantaneous answer was that even though you ask for a continuous reference plane, as soon as you see that there is a continuous path for the return, so this ground basically layer is used for the return current, right? So as soon as there is a path for this return current to flow, and there is no way that this signal goes in a larger loop, and then you are safe enough that your reference layer can have these holes. Example, let us assume I have a layer which is a signal layer, and then a reference plane below. This reference plane has number of wires which have come down from the top, which are going to the bottom, and now my signal is going like this on the top layer. So when when you consider the return path for that particular signal, even though there are these wire related stuff on this ground plane, there is always some continuous path. If there is some break in the reference plane because of this number of wires, definitely which is not the case, then there is an issue. So which meant that you can have these wires and still achieve a better performance with respect to the high speed signals. So now one thing is that the difference, what is the difference between this scenario and a continuous ground plane where you don't have even a single wire? So in such case, when you see a potential on this particular layer with practically you cannot measure on the soldered PCB, but you can measure from the top layer. So if there is a continuous ground plane, let us assume without any wires, then the impedance or the voltage drop between those wires would be lesser compared to the ones which has number of wires that are routed from top to bottom. So that means there is some voltage drop definitely associated with this, but still that is not in such a way that it would affect the high speed signal performance and the associated return path. So my answer was this, and then when I referred back to some of the notes that are available, so I could justify my question. So most of the guys, so here from the technical point of view, I had two thoughts. One thought is that there are guys, when you see this note, they just follow as is. Why it has to be a continuous reference plane if the layout engineer thought by himself, and if there are vias, what happens, what would be the scenario? So if he had judged between them, he could have decided by himself that yeah, this may not be an issue. So that was one point. And second point, on the same discussion, when we were discussing, he was worried about some of the critical signals in his PCB layout. So when we say critical signals, if I am having a design and I have, when I say I have critical signals in my PCB, definitely I will talk about the clock signal, which is definitely a critical signal, because it's a continuously varying repeated signal, repetitive signal, which is continuously varying, right? When I say continuously varying, high low, and it is repetitive, so we should put it that way. So in this case, that is considered as the signal, and generally our clocks would be around megahertz. So what is critical? When so now I am saying clock is critical signal, or any high speed signal on the PCB is critical. So what do you mean by critical here? So when we say critical, what we mean here is this particular signal, whatever is there, would be output from a particular driver, right? So example, if I take a processor, and if I am having some signals, Ethernet signals that are coming out, so if you have some driver on the processor, because you will have Ethernet controller on the PC, on the processor. So from that driver, you will output the signal, Ethernet signals. So now when I output the signals, there will be a drive strength associated with this. That means when we say drive strength, it means the current that is being pushed out, and this signal would be continuous, will be varying, because it's a clocks, it's a basically a high speed digital signal. So the analogy regarding high speed digital looks like analog signal, we will keep it aside. So for now assume that it's a high speed digital signal, and then it is continuously changing to high and low, right, because it's a digital signal. And the point here is that when it is changing, the performance of this interface depends on one, the harmonic content. So this square signal, because it will have some rise time associated with it, and then it will have the drive strength associated with the driver. So the drive strength, the rise time, and the basic frequency, which we call it the fundamental frequency. Example, if the signal is around 100 megahertz, the square wave signal, so that signal, so all these three combined together define the criticality of the signal, of that particular signal. So it is not that just by frequency we define it. It is dependent on the rise time, and also it is dependent on the drive strength of that particular driver. So these parameters also define. So when we say critical, generally we refer only to the frequency, but we have to consider these parameters as well. So these were 2 points which we were discussing, and very good points he made out, and so it is I hope this discussion is particularly useful for you and the guys who work in high speed designs. They just need to understand these small things which are very critical. So thanks for watching. Please post your comments on our video if you have, or if you have any suggestions, please post them. Thank you.